everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the HoggieShuffle. I know, it's been a minute, we know, but we're back in the trenches. We're back behind the mic, fired up and ready to get this thing rolling again. Life's been busy. Football seasons have finally wrapped up. A lot's gone down since our last drop, but that means we've got even more to talk about today. If you're new here, this is the show where we break down the big uglies. We celebrate the unsung heroes of the game. We talk ball from a coach's perspective. We get some laughs along the way, and if you've been rocking with us from day one, thank you. You're the reason we're back in the booth, pushing out more content. So we got a stacked episode today. We got always, of course, Coach's Corner, hitting our big guy spotlight. We got some matchup mayhem, flag on the play, some legends talk, and of course, Robbie's good, bad, and the ugly. So strap in, get locked, and let's get into it. First things up, we got Coach's Corner, and we're talking about, some season-ending losses, what it teaches us, and how to bounce back. As a coach and player, I always see this part. It's tough to end the season out. Both teams I coached for, that's a pretty rough goes. Our high school season, we got ended in the first round of provincials, and, in our bantam season, we didn't even get there. So, excuse me. I'll let Robbie kind of take it off here to start, and we'll roll into this.
Season-ending losses, what coaches and players can learn. It's a big thing, like going out early, into the playoff rounds, or you make it out of your league, or those things. So, here's just a couple quick things that we're going to summarize for you guys. The emotional toll coming up short, that's that's so tough, just to know all that hard work that you put in all season and all off season, and just to come up that little bit short. It's not embarrassing, but it feels like that to you. The frustration, the pain, it gets you in, and it fuels you for the off season. So guys, if that does happen to you, make sure you're using that for fuel coming up for the next season. From the coach's seat, how we lead things to go a different way. Own that process. Show accountability. Keep the morale up when the scoreboard doesn't reflect your effort. Because you know what? Just because you lost in that last big game doesn't mean your season was for nothing. There's a lot of guys out there that made big strides, and a lot of coaches out there that put big effort into your season to happen. So take it on the chin, but get up, work hard, and keep it going. From the player's seat, like Coach Peace just said, own your role. Own knowing what you didn't do good enough to make sure that you're working on that in the off season, and just get better. Mentally prepare yourself for the next season, and make sure that football season doesn't end the day that you take off your pads, because all of the things you need to prepare for the next season don't come with pads and helmets on. They come in the gym, they come in your diet, and they come with great mentality.
Well, and how football goes. It's inevitable. There's always going to be ups and downs. There's going to be those seasons that you have the most fun ever and you win all your games and you're unstoppable. And there's seasons where it's a grind. It's rough. Like this year for us on the bantam side, it didn't go our way, a lot of games, but there's a couple of games where we had the one right near the end there, and it was close. We ended up losing by a 1-point rouge, to not get to go to the championship game, and that's tough. And I really wish we could have got that one, but we played against a really good team that wanted it too. And, it was a big difference from us because the previous game we played against the squad, they walked us pretty good, So it was big. It was a big difference getting to go in that game and know that we were that close. We were right there. And so it's tough. It's one of those games where you think about it all the time and you think about the things you could have done differently. But that's what makes you a better coach and a better player going into the next seasons. The guys that are going back for next year are going to remember that game. The coaches, we know what we're going to be doing differently the next time we're in that situation, right? There's all those things you can learn from that, and you keep going and go further and get even better, right? The high school side of it, same thing. We went into that game, and honestly, it didn't go great for us. The first quarter was pretty tight, and then it kind of got away from us pretty quick there. And, I will say this. It's probably the best high school kicker I've ever seen in my life playing against us. That kid could boot a ball.
I remember him from last year.
Wild. So, hats off to those guys. They had a great season too, and I think they're actually going all the way to provincial finals. So that's cool to see. It's always sucks when you lose, but at least if you're losing to the guys that are playing for the chip, it doesn't hurt as bad. It's one of those times where it's like, they're pretty damn good squad. And you got to look ahead. You got to channel the disappointment and energy, like Robbie said there. And, we didn't finish how we wanted, but so we're going to show up next year differently. And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to how bad you want it. I always like to ask the kids that question is how bad do you really want it? Do you want to go out there and have fun, or do you want to go out there and win a ball game? And that's what it really comes down to is sitting out before the game. If you're just messing around with your friends, you're not really really into it, it's tough. But if you're sitting there, you're like, you're visualizing those tackles, those touchdowns, those blocks. It makes a world of difference when you go out there and you physically do it, because you've thought that process through. It's like anything in life. If you think before you do, you're always going to be more successful. And big takeaways from this type of coach's corner here, guys. We're talking about this is big one. I'm telling you right now, there's some teams I heard that don't like doing this as much, and to me it is just wild, is review game film. Be honest with your performance. If you're looking at the game film and you can tell yourself that, hey, I gave it my all out there, maybe it didn't go our way, but there was other 11 guys in the field, another 8 guys in the field that, maybe they didn't do their jobs properly either way. It's nowhere to play the blame game, but at least you can know you did your stuff, and the things you did wrong, you can always look at that and understand that, because in game speed, you can't really analyze it, but when you can watch it back in slow motion, you can watch the little things you did on the step you could have taken better, catch you could have made, those kind of things makes a huge difference.
And always remember this, coaches and players, no matter what, when you're watching your game film, confidence before criticism. Always pick out the best things you did or the best things you've seen a player do before you break it down and say, hey, you could have done this better, or, we could have done this better, all those things. So just make sure you keep that in mind going forward when you're breaking that down.
And another big one is establishing your off-season goals, right? Knowing what went wrong, knowing, hey, if I could get my upper body strength a little bit more here, I could have made that block, or I could have made that tackle. If I could just be a hair faster on this release, I could be there. And those are the little things that, don't focus so big picture. Focus on the little things you can control and what you genuinely can do to get that next level, to get better and make that step, right? Build that culture, emphasizes that the loss doesn't define us, but the punch does. And, that's really what I got coached as a kid, was a really good one with that too, is it doesn't matter if you get punched in the mouth first, but it matters if you're going to punch back, right? If you have the dexterity and the effort and the willpower to hit back right in the mouth and keep going through that game. Because I'll tell you, when you're down, it's tough to keep going. But if you can get that drive in you and you can get that little bit of hope going, you're coming out fired up. And again, you really want to prepare for next year. As a coach, refine your schemes. Understand maybe those little plays that you tried doing didn't really work. The little dish and dunk plays, the crazy flies, things like that. They don't always work defensively. Sometimes maybe having a little bit more coverage in the back versus pressure might be a little different. Or maybe you need to send more pressure. Those little things you got to work on like that. Reset that mindset, rebuild that confidence in yourself and your players. And like I said, we've talked about how to deal with this. We talked about the finish line that didn't go our way. But now let's move on let's spotlight into some big guys that are doing it in the trenches and doing it the right way. So first guy we're going to talk about here is a guy we've talked about before on the podcast as well too. This is a big guy spotlight here. So it's a guy we've talked about before. It's going to be Will Campbell, left tackle for the New England Patriots. And I'll tell you, this guy,
And I was just going to say, we were really excited about this guy when he came out of the draft. He had a rough start. He's sure looking good now.
Oh, yeah, like with 4th overall pick, immediately became starting tackle day one. I mean, he's one of the most hyped rookie linemen in years, and he's been a cornerstone of this piece of the New England Patriots since day one. He started every single game up until his recent knee injury here. Before the injury, he was allowing minimal pressure, obviously holding opponents to low pressure rate, showing advanced footwork for his age. We've talked about his college performance before, but I mean, it was unreal. All-American, Jacobs blocking trophy has translated strong anchor, violent hands, great recovery. And those little hands, they're doing pretty good. So all them people that are saying he's got those too small hands, too short arms, I don't know what to tell you. Dude's a dog. And they, Patriot staff consistently praises his preparation, maturity, and it's rare for a first-year blindside protector to be just this solid and this overall good. So you look at the record, you understand why they're doing so good, why they're number one in the AFC right now. It's because of guys like him that can keep Drake May protected, keep those guys going, and have a successful football team.
Yeah, I've just been watching him loosely and keeping an eye on him, and it was an absolute shame that he got hurt last week. It was just devastating for them, but they balled out and they made it through. But I think you're going to see many years from this young man. I think he's going to be a dog for the trenches for a long time.
Oh man, like 100%. Like he represents everything that's about being an elite offensive lineman. He's got the technique over hype, consistency over flash. Even with the injury setback, he's shown the maturity that he's a future left tackle and in a franchise level, being a blindside anchor in the making. And I mean, that's just unreal to see. And you know what? Even when you're a veteran, you keep evolving. Don't let your success breed complacency. And the big thing with that comes down to, guys, is don't get comfortable. The best you can possibly do as a player, a coach, an athlete, anything like that, is live in that uncomfortable state. Constantly be uncomfortable. If you can be uncomfortable, you're doing the right things.
100%. Next up on the docket, we got Garett Bolles, Denver Broncos, recapping his 2025 season here. Why is he on the radar? He's been one of the Broncos' most reliable players this season. Through 2025, he's started all 10 games and continues to anchor the blind side with consistency and durability. And let's be honest, man, he are given some time to throw. That offensive line is pushing and smashing, and they're kicking butt. 10 starts so far in 2025. He's only allowed 1 sack across all those starts, and his pressure rate is under 5%, putting him among the best left tackles this year. He continues to trust the full workload after playing over 1,100 snaps this season, which is about 97% of all snaps on Denver's offense, showing strong footwork recovery, especially in Denver's wide side zone look. Why that matters? Left tackle stability makes everyone on the offense easier. With Bolles locking up the blind side, Denver can call deeper drops, commit fewer tight end protections, and run the ball more effectively and more consistently off the edge. As much as I'm not a Denver Broncos guy, I've really loved to see what they've been able to do. And they got a couple young guys. So, trench takeaways, reliability is a skill. And that's not something you can learn. That's something that's mentally fortitude into you. Bolles earns trust by showing up every week, protecting the quarterback, and never being the weak link. He is the definition of steady veteran cornerstone.
Broncos suck. Go Birds.
Definitely Broncos suck.
Hate them. Want to see them just lose in the first round of playoffs, and the season's over for them. Okay, next guy we got is Quenton Nelson. 2025 season here for the Indianapolis Colts, and he's been a key player. He's back to performing at elite level, right? He continues to dominate the interior of the offensive line, and that matters big time for both the run and pass. He's just killing it. He started all the games so far. He's every one of those games. He's been just being an absolute monster. According to the PFF stats out there, he's got an overall grade of 87.6, run blocking a 90.4, a pass blocking grade of 67.1. That run blocking grade, by the way, first of all guards out of 80 players. That's unreal. And obviously, like I said, his run blocking grade means the teams facing the Colts have to respect that interior run. And you've seen them. They have such an unreal run game this year. They're just opening up all the play action for outside run. His durability, consistency. Starting every game in this stretch means fewer weeks and fewer weak links up front. The stability lets the coaching staff scheme so much more aggressively because they can set up, like I said, all those play action passes. And, 67.1 isn't elite pass blocking grade, but at guard, it's pretty respectable. And, when you're an inside guy, you have that help of those double teams, so it's a bit different for sure. And considering his run grade is top tier, when your run game works and your interior pressure is minimized, the quarterback gets so much more time and the offense can establish all that tempo they need. At the end of the day, you can frame Nelson's 2025 as a return to elite form, highlighting how his metrics have just shown he's back near the top of his position. You want to see this guy, you want to talk about consistency, you want to talk about a guy who's been doing it for years and years and years and years. He's been killing it, and he's been starting every week, dominating at his role, and obviously in run blocking, and this is just the foundation for an elite offensive line and how to be a dog. You look up to this guy. If you guys play offensive line, this is the kind of guy you want to go watch this tape and really understand how to run block because this is the guy right here. That's just.
Well, I'll tell you this one thing. You look at what the Colts offensive line has done with the rushing this year, and they are running all over the board, whether it be their first string or their second string running back. But look how good they are at passing the football. And they got a guy who could barely complete a pass in New York City. And now all of a sudden, Indianapolis Jones is slanging for the Colts. He's just amazing. And somehow he went from being Mr. Irrelevant, maybe signing with the Colts because they needed a backup, to Richardson being punted. They're not going back to Richardson. Why would they? They're going to definitely keep Jones. Jones is rolling with that offensive line. And it's, why we spotlight the offensive line, because you look what a good offensive line can do for a quarterback or a running back. Taylor and Jones are two of the best players in the NFL right now, and they're possibly the best team in the AFC. I see them high in the playoffs, big time, and because of that offensive line, they're gonna go places.
We shine the light on the big guys holding the line. Let's spin this into this week's matchup mayhem. We're going to talk about the different matchups in the league, see what we think the scores are going to be, and overall have that conversation. Maybe I'm right, maybe Rob's right. We'll see how it goes. So first game we're going to talk about here is obviously going to be morning game. We're going to talk about the Packers and Lions.
Thanksgiving.
It was Thanksgiving game.
Whoa!
Always love those Thanksgiving Thursdays. I remember being a kid at school. Now, obviously up in Canada, it's a little different because our Thanksgivings are at different times. So being a kid in school, getting to watch Thanksgiving game was awesome. You know, you're at school. You got your back when I was in grade, I think it was grade 9. We went into our coach's room. We're sitting there, like we're watching on a little TV screen a little bit in the gym. By the time we're in grade 12, we were streaming those games in the library on the computers watching the game. It was unreal. It was just constantly watching the football. It was one of the best days ever because you're getting football all day long. Even as a grown man now at work, I'm gonna have those games on. I'm gonna be watching them a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll be watching those games. So first game we always get to see is Packers Lions. Now I think this is gonna be a bit of a defensive game. I think Packers take it. I really do. I think Jordan Love's really been showing promise this year. I think they've been absolutely killing it. Their defense is unreal. So yeah, I really think Packers take this one. I'm going to say it's going to be 28-17. Packers.
It's a pretty good prediction, but here's the one thing is that nobody's stopping Jamar Gibbs. And I don't care who you are, you're just not stopping Jamar Gibbs. And if you've seen it this week, dude put up 50 fantasy points this week. And unbelievable. I believe he had two touchdowns rushing, and he had 260 all-purpose yards between receiving. I'm going all day with Goff. I'm going all day with Jamar Gibbs. I'm going to say it's going to be 34-28 Lions.
Like I said, completely disagree because I think that Packers defensive line is going to hold them. They held Barkley really well. They've been holding a lot of teams really well this year. They're actually having a really good defensive line front. It helps when the Cowboys give you one of the best edge rushers in the 100%. League. And I think he's going to do some work on these guys. I think he gets a sack on Goff. I think overall that Packers D line is going to stop them.
I know. I just look back to they lost to the Cleveland Browns just like my Raiders did, and Cleveland Browns aren't too hot and they're not that good at stopping the run. So.
I don't know. We'll see. Next game we got is the mid-afternoon game, obviously Chiefs-Cowboys. As much as I hate the Chiefs, I will never cheer for the Cowboys, especially after this week. It was a tough one for us. Being a salty Eagles fan, that's just how it goes. Cowboys suck. Go Chiefs. Chiefs are going to win this game by 21 points.
That's a fair statement. Now, you look at what Cowboys might have sparked a little bit of gold when they beat the Raiders up really bad 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Football. They put a really good effort into beating you guys this last week. I mean, the referees definitely helped them. There was definitely some...
That was the Cowboys Super Bowl. They're not making the playoffs, so they got to do what they can do, and I think the Chiefs are going to destroy. I think the second half of the season for the Chiefs is going to be disgusting, and they're going to go on a huge streak.
And we know it is. But that being said, I don't see the Chiefs getting blown out or the Cowboys getting blown out. I think it's going to be more like... this one's going to be a close one. It's going to be a touchdown game. I'm going to go 21-28 Chiefs.
Again, go Birds. They got Bengals-Ravens. Having Lamar Jackson being kind of full strength right now, I really see the Ravens having the slight push right now. I could see them taking it, but I'm going to still flip the script. I'm still going to go Bengals. I think it's going to be a barn burner. I think you're going like a 42-36 Bengals. I think it's going to be just a touchdown scoring game.
I'm with you on this one, but I think we might get Mr. Joe Burrows back this week.
You think so?
And I think if Burrows is back in that game, they're putting up 40. He's been angry. He's going to be wanting to get back in there. He's been missing since week 3, I believe. So I'm going to take.
Oh, if Burrow's back, then it's a guarantee.
I'm going to take
that game,
Cincinnati Bengals with 38 points, and I think that Baltimore's going to put up a lot. I think they're going to go 30. I think they're going to go with 33.
It's going to be a game. Tune into the television that night. It's going to be a game. We got a Friday game too. Oh, we do have a Friday game.
Bears Eagles.
Oh, Bears Eagles. Okay, we got a Friday game. That's nice to see.
I love that.
Let's go Bears Eagles. Oh, I mean, at the end of the day, Eagles are coming off a shitty loss. They got a bad taste in their mouth. They're going to force the ball way too much to AJ Brown again, which is going to be a story for the rest of the season because he went and cried to the owners about it. Even though they're going to trade him anyways, he's going to be gone. He's going to request a trade at the end of the season. We all see the writing on the wall here. They need to get the ball to Smitty more. It's going to be a bit of a tight game. I see it going down. Oof. It's going to be tight. I'm going to say 28-21 Eagles because we're going to get a couple on the board. Jalen's going to run for a couple. We're going to get a couple on the board. Bears aren't doing terrible right now. They got a strong offense. Their defense is a little, mediocre, I think, but I think we're going to push them hard.
I mean, let's just say it right now. How about them Bears? Because I tell you, from where they started from to week 3 to where they are now, unbelievable success. I'm not saying that's all on the quarterback. He's played mediocre through the season, but he's shined when they needed him to shine. That being said, it's Philly. That Philly defense could storm your castle, steal your queen, and there's nothing you can do about it. Their offensive struggles have been a little bit to watch out for, but this week, they looked like they were rolling. Let's get Smith.
The first half they were.
Let's get Smith the ball a lot more, and we need Saquon to come back. But if all those things happen, I'm taking Philly 21, and I'm taking 13 points for Chicago Bears.
All right, let's get back to that Saints-Dolphins game. Now, we got the Sunday morning game, 11 a.m., Saints-Dolphins. This one's going to suck. Honestly, if you're not maybe watch it on the red zone, that's about it. It's a pretty garbage game. Who cares? That being said, I think 17-10 for the Dolphins. I think Dolphins take this game for sure.
I don't know. The Saints look pretty good on Sunday. They're definitely progressing a lot better than the Dolphins are. I'm going to throw 17 for the Dolphins, and I'm going to go 21 for the Saints.
Ooh, who do you think scoring that touchdown? That last one to win in the game?
I can't call it. It could be so many.
Dirty. I don't know. I think Dolphins take it. Then we got Texans-Colts. Now, that's going to be a game. I'll tell you right now, that Texans D-line was disgusting this last week. Holy smokes. 8 sacks? I watched that whole game. I was sitting there like, holy shoot, that's gross. The Colts are going to come out hot. They're going to be fired up. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to come down to probably a field goal or touchdown. It's going to go either way. But, I want to say Colts are going to take it. Colts have been on a really good run right now. They just came off a shitty loss to the cheaty old Chiefs there with the bad overtime game. It sucks a little bit when you lose those overtime games. I've been there. But I'll tell you this right now. I think I'm going to say Colts by touchdown. I don't know the exact score is going to be, but I'm thinking Colts by a touchdown.
Like we just talked about, I'm betting on that Colts offensive line. Now, I know that, it was Thursday Night Football, and the Texans showed up and showed out. I don't think they can emulate that 2 weeks in a row, and I think that Colts offensive line is going to put the absolute beats down. Colts are going to run all over them. Taylor's going to be all over the field, 200-plus yards. I'm going to say 38 Colts, 17 Texans.
Ooh, I don't know. Texans are deep. I'm telling you right now, dude. There's no possible way that he runs around on the Texans D line. I don't know if you watched that. I don't know if you watched that game, man. But I'll tell you what, that Texans D line are nothing to play with, man. They got monsters. Barrett coming off the edge. They got some big D line up front. I mean, I don't see it. I don't see it.
I just think that front five of the Colts with what they've been doing and their offensive play calling with their new coach has been just nasty.
Quenton Nelson's going to be good. They're going to block for him. Don't get me wrong, but I just think that Texans defensive lineman, the way they can just sub in, sub out, they have probably 6 different dogs rolling through that. They are just absolutely atrocious, and they're just nasty, man. They're nasty work, and I think they're going to take them. I think they pick off Danny Dimes. I really do. Next game, back to the old crapper here. We got the Falcons and Jets. Again, probably catch that one on the red zone. It ain't going to be too pretty. It ain't going to be great. Jets could get one of their small wins they've got this season. I can see that coming out, but I think Falcons probably take this one. It's not going to be amazing. It's going to be like a 21-14 kind of game, a 17-14 kind of game. I'm going to give the edge to the Falcons.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. The Jets kind of put the fork in their season, trading off their 2 best defensive players. And the Falcons, they got you like that? So I'm going to take the Jets, and I'm going to bid this one 17-10 Jets.
Ooh, I don't know if he's got it in the tank, but we'll see. Now, this one's going to be an interesting game. You got Niners. You got, I believe Brock Purdy's back at the helm this week. I think he was in last week too.
Yep.
I'm not wrong on that. Versus Browns. The Browns, they're going back to back. They're going with Shooter again. They're going to let him start a second game here. Now, this is no offense to you at all here, but he did play the second worst team in the league last week to get his first win.
Right, he did.
So now he's going to go against a team that historically has a pretty solid defense. So I think this is the real test for him. This is the real test to see if he is the real deal, if he's actually going to be the guy, if he's not just going to be a dude that's going to be a second string bench riding quarterback. Because if he comes out and wins this game, it shakes everything up for that Browns quarterback room. If he goes out and plays how everyone, expects him to play, and that's the best part of this. There's no expectation here. He's expected to be garbage. He expects, obviously there was the hype at the beginning of the season. When you don't get an opportunity, you don't get a chance. There's not a lot of expectations for you here. So I hope he goes out and does well. I hope he goes out and kicks ass. But I'm going to say 49ers take it by 2. I'm going to say it's going to be a 28-14 game for the Niners.
Ooh, the biggest thing you're missing here is that Stefanski is the worst coach in the league. That guy did not set...
Up. You guys just fire the worst coach in the league.
I'm talking head coach. I mean, if you have a guy like Shedeur Sanders that's all about flash and he's all about that pizzazz, and you absolutely gave that kid zero attention, and you let the only person on that team coaching him is number 4, like, why would you want your Shedeur Sanders to be around by Watson at any time anyway? You should be keeping them 2 separated, and that Stefanski does not want him on the team. And right now, they had nobody, so they had to go to Shedeur. Did he play great? No. Did he play pretty damn good for a first game ever and get the first win from a rookie quarterback for the Browns in 30 years? I mean, hats off to him. Hats off to him. He exposed a lot of things about a shitty team, but at the end of the day, he did his job. He got the win. And, let's be honest, Stefanski didn't even give him the game ball. No. What kind of coach realizes that your team hasn't had a rookie quarterback win a game in 30 years as their first game, and you're giving it to the guy who's got a trophy case full of footballs just because he broke his own sack record for them? And nothing against Myles Garrett, he's the best defensive player in the league. Sorry, defensive MVP, hands down.
Best defensive player all time.
That's just.
I know I'm biased, but I've been saying it since we started the podcast. But he's my guy, man. I really believe in him so much that he is just an absolute dog, and there's really just never been anybody that's like him.
With his 6th season in a row getting over 12 sacks, there's only one other guy in history that's done that, and he's going to break that one next year too. So he's going to go down as the best defensive player in the league anyways. I'm going to take Niners 28, Cleveland 13 points.
That's fair. They're going to shank it. They're going to either get a field goal, 2 field goals, or
2 field goals and a touchdown.
Yeah, you're thinking 2 field goals and a touchdown. Okay, I like it. And we got Rams-Panthers. Now, obviously, Rams are probably going to take this game. But there's going to be that part of me that's always going to be cheering for the Panthers. I like seeing that Canadian kid out there running. Chuba, you broke the Canadian rushing record. That's so cool to see. As a, local Albertan kid to go out there and break that Canadian record is huge. I think that's so cool. Starting running back for the Panthers. But again, I think Rams take this one. I think it's going to be nothing crazy, like a 24-17 kind of game. Nothing wild.
I like that. And let's be honest. You say a lot of things you want about the quarterback, but I'll tell you one thing you can't take away from the guy. In 9 games, dude has 27 touchdowns and not 1 interception, and he's 38 years old. He is getting up there in age, and he is still doing it better than anybody else in the league right now. So I'm taking
Devontae Adams as being a disgusting monster. That end zone touchdown he had, dude, that fade, just quick move, bop to the corner, that was dirty.
It's the best player he's had since, when he had 2010 Aaron Rodgers. And this dude is not very far off the same age as Aaron Rodgers, but he's still getting it done.
Next game we're going to talk about is obviously going to be the Jaguars and the Titans. Again, this is one of those games like the Falcons-Jets. Catch it on red zone. It ain't going to be pretty. It ain't going to be great.
Right.
Titans are the worst team in the league. Jaguars are going to walk these guys.
Kobe Myers looked good on Sunday. Let me tell you that much.
I think Jaguars take this game for sure. I'm thinking it's going to be like a 21-10 kind of game for the Jaguars.
Yeah, I like that score. 21-10 is about what I was going to pick too.
Then we got a good tune-up game for Baker after last week's disappointment. Buccaneers-Cardinals. This is where Baker's obviously... I don't even know if he's going to play, to be honest with you.
I don't think he is. Got a strained left shoulder. I don't think he's going to be in this week.
I really don't see it. We had that tough... I don't know why they would get him to throw that deep ball. I think that was a bonehead decision.
In the first half?
Right?
Yeah. I
think that's a bonehead decision for sure, man. He's hurting. I I still think Bucks take the game. I think their defense is going to hold off the Cardinals pretty well. It's not going to be a high scorer, like a 17-14 for Buccaneers.
I like Teddy. Teddy's one of the best backup quarterbacks this league's ever seen. I'm taking the Buccaneers 17, and I'm not giving too much. I'm not giving too much to the other guys. I might give him 6 points.
That's fair.
That Bucks defense is still nasty.
Now, we're going to roll into the afternoon games. And this one, you're going to want to turn this one on. Vikings, Seahawks. Going to be a good game. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a fight. This is going to be one of those games where it could go either way. Seahawks are on a good roll right now. Vikings have their ups and downs. I'm going to go Skol for this one for sure. I'm going to say Vikings take this one. I'm thinking maybe a 36-28 kind of game. A couple field goals, throw some touchdowns in there. I think Vikings take this one for sure.
I like the score. I don't like the team. I'll take that score opposite, but I think that old Sam Darnold's going to come in. Is it Sam Darnold?
I think so.
Yeah, Sam Darnold playing for the Seahawks. He's going to come take some revenge because he was on the Vikings last year, had a really great season with them, and look what he's doing this year in Seattle. They are absolutely mollywhopping people, just kicking the crap out of them. So I'm going to take whatever you said, 36 to 28 for Seahawks.
I don't know. I'm taking Skol on this one. I really think the Big Blues Vikings are going to take it, man. Seahawks, they're definitely a good squad, but I think they're going to start folding near the second half of the season here. All right, now we're up to the Bills Steelers, and again, we got some injuries going on. I'm not sure if Aaron Rodgers is going to be back. I know he went out in the last game there, and they had to put Mason Rudolph at the quarterback spot.
Did just as good.
He did okay. I think there was
just as good as Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, there was some really bad bonehead plays he was trying to make. The ball was getting very overthrown. It wasn't looking great. But on that same notion, the Bills have had some ups and downs. Like I said, this last week they faced that Texans defensive line, and Josh Allen got the full Joe Burrow's experience, where he got absolutely hammered.
He got mollywopped 7 times.
He's going to be a little 8 times.
8 times.
He's going to be a little shook. I still give this one to the Bills for sure, though. I'm going to say Bills. I'm going to say 21-10 Bills. 28-10.
I like that score, too, because let's not forget that defense in Pittsburgh is still mean.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, strip sack in the end zone to break your brother's record. Let's go. Let's go Steelers.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, if you're the Steelers right now, you're watching game film from last week. You're really studying what the Texans did to get that pressure, and you're going to see T.J. Watt get in there and really rip in that pressure on Josh Allen. I think he gets probably a sack himself, possibly 2.
Right.
Now we got the next game coming up. Again, yeah, maybe catch the highlights for this one for the Chargers, but it's not going to be great for Robbie's Raiders. I think the Chargers have, again, had some ups and downs this season, but they're still a pretty good squad. I don't believe in Justin Herbert. I never have. I've always hated his praise he's gotten from the NFL since he became in the league, and they've just been double fisting him the whole time he's been in the league. He's really not the greatest quarterback ever, but I still think the Chargers are going to take the game. Obviously, it's not going to be no Chiefs Raiders game where it's 30-0, but it's going to probably be like a 21-7 kind of game.
Yeah, I'm going to say 21-10. Sorry, 24-10.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. And I just want to say this right now. We suck. We're the worst team in the league, let's be honest.
Now we got Broncos Commanders for the night game. Now, I don't know. I hate the Broncos. I still think they might take this game, but I think you might see a little bit of magic come out of the Commanders this game too. Broncos historically just magically win by 3 points every game, so that's all I'm going to give them is a 3-point spread. I'm going to say they're going to win the game like a 24-21 kind of game. Commanders are going to score a touchdown late in the fourth, but the Broncos are going to come back and kick a field goal and win the game.
I like that. Bo Nix has been on a really good tear lately. Their defense has been really, really good, but I'm going to stick with your score. That sounds like a pretty good score.
Now this one, Giants-Patriots. I think you're going to see a sneaky little bet flip. And I think this is the Monday night game, by the way. I think Giants take this game.
I do too.
Now, if Raiders can beat the Patriots, so can anybody else. And you got to look at the aspect of this game and what they're going to be. This is called the old bait and switch. And everyone's going to bait the Patriots, and they're going to bet on the Patriots to win this game. And the Giants are going to come out hot, fired up. I believe they're still going to have Mr. W's in there, scoring his touchdowns. Maybe? And I think you're going to see Jameis Winston come out hot this game. I really think Giants take this game by a field goal and or a touchdown. It's going to be a tight game, but I think Giants take it in the end.
I think it's going to be a walk-off. No time left on the clock. Walk-off touchdown by the New York Giants to win the game.
Yep, I do too. I think it's one of those games where, we've seen it, obviously, it's almost 20 years ago in the Super Bowl, pretty close, 15 years ago. Right. And the Giants took down the big bad Patriots, and I think like I said, I think you're going to see the bait game this week coming up, and this is the bait game. This is it.
I like it. I agree with you.
All right, guys. Well, that was our matchup, Mayhem. I think, we talked about a couple good ones. We talked about a couple bad ones. Like I said, there's some good games out there. There's also going to be some real boring ones that aren't going to be amazing. But that, like I said, that sleeper matchup, that one that you're really going to watch out for is that Monday night game. I think that's going to be the bait game for sure. So next we're talking about some flags in the play. Now, again, it's been a minute since we did this, boys. It's been a minute since we've been on the pod, doing our stuff, talking. So this one's from a few weeks ago. But I want to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles Detroit Lions game. And I'm a diehard Eagles fan. You see all the stuff back here. I mean, I'm diehard. But this had to be the worst pass interference call I have ever seen in my life. Now, do I think it changed the outcome of the game? No. Possibly the Lions would have got a chance to go down and score, but I really think the way their offense was playing, they weren't doing anything special anyways. But for a referee to call that a pass interference just jeopardizes the game of football and jeopardizes 100%. People wanting to watch the game and trusting and believing that they're going to make the right calls, because that was one of the absolute worst things I've ever seen as a fan. And like I said, I'm the guy. I'm the Eagles fan. All the Eagles fans are sitting there like, oh, take your win, take your... I think that was terrible. I think it just jeopardizes the whole game, the whole sport when you make terrible calls like that. And I think it just ruins football.
Agreed. When it comes down to the last 2 minutes and the boys are playing and the game is on the line, you cannot take it into your own hands as referees. And again, essentially, and we've seen it a lot this season in seasons past, they took that and put it in their own hands just to make sure something didn't happen where, the outcome was not controlled by the referees. And again, I don't care what league you see it in. The referees have their own mindset of what they want to do and what they want to see, and it doesn't matter what league of football you're watching, it just happens.
100%.
Now mine's got me hot, like big time hot. Because I tell you, you got to be a real fan to be a Raiders fan. Like, you can't just be some crummy old guy that watches football, and because if you were, there's no possible way you'd be a Raiders fan. Like, you have to bleed silver and black. It's in your blood. It's something that you absolutely own every single day of your life. And when your quarterback comes off the field, good, bad, or ugly, and gives you the finger to the home crowd, buddy, get that POS, get that jersey off him, get that shield away from him. The guy does not deserve to be where he's at right now. I'm sorry. Last week he called out the fans saying, blame me for this and blame me for that. Of course we're going to blame you. You've played terrible. You've played absolutely terrible from the times you could throw the ball away to the times where you should be checking down to run plays or checking out of run plays and into pass plays. You're absolutely god-awful garbage. And to come off the field and finger fans. And not only did the camera see it, but the internet now has seen it, and they are running with it. I guarantee the dude's going to lose his job because of this thing, and I hope the NFL finds him to the maximum extent. He's going to get nothing but boos for the rest of the season. The guy has been he might not even ever be a starter ever again. He might get a couple more backup jobs like he should have right now. Let's go AOC, get this bum off my team, and let's call it what it is. The guy's a coward, and only cowards do what he's doing, calling out the fans in the media, giving the fans the middle fingers. Only guys like can't control their own destiny do shit like that. My flag on the play. 35 yards for being an absolute POS worst quarterback in the league.
Now, the last one we're going to talk about flags on the play. This one, it's not something that we see this week, last week. It's every week. Is that teams not taking their goddamn points.
Or
punting it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, even as an Eagles fan, you're going for it way too many times on fourth down. Why? When you know there's still 5-10 minutes left in the game, are you not taking that effing field goal, taking your points, trusting your defense is going to have a 3-and-out, go back out there, try again? If you try for that touchdown every time and all of a sudden you're realizing, oh, shoot, this team's now beat us by a field goal because they took their points. Right. Take your points.
Look at the Chiefs-Lions game, or not sure, the Chiefs game from the Colts. Man, 4 times they went for it on fourth down and gave it up. Take the damn points, guys.
That's 12 points off the board because you were too prideful thinking. And this is the thing. If you're in the NFL and you're an offensive coordinator, you're a head coach, and you can't trust in your defense, get somebody else running the defense. If you can't trust that your defense is going to make that stop and get you that ball back, have somebody else do the job. It's ridiculous. 100%. Take your effing points. Drives me bananas. Like, you ever played Madden before? Like, I'm sorry. Take your points.
Taught you that well.
Like, that's my flag of the play. That's the biggest one there's talk about. Take your points. God damn. So, rolling into our next segment here, boys, we're going to roll into the Legends talk. At the we went some questionable calls there, and then we want to talk about some legendary careers. So let's get into it. I always say it like this. Imagine a player who never made the headlines, and every quarterback behind him trusted instantly, right? And that was Nick Mangold. And rest in peace. Guys passed away now, but I mean, dude had 11 seasons in the NFL from 2016, the New York Jets for every single one of those seasons. He was a first-round pick, 29th overall. He's a 3-year starter in Ohio State, being a first-team All-American honors in 2005. He was a 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro. I mean, he's inducted to the Jets Ring of Honor in 22, and obviously tragically passed away October 25th at the age of 41. And that's sad to see because this guy was an absolute legend. A big reason why we're talking about him is he was the anchor, the absolute anchor of the offensive line there for nearly a decade, playing center, being a monster. His consistency allowed him to lead the team's stability to build around him. Now, they were never the best team in that era. They weren't amazing, don't get me wrong, but they always had the consistency of the O-line being great and doing the good things. Now, as a coach or a player, his career shows you the power of preparation, character, and they become your edge when everyone else has talent. Like, he wasn't the fastest guy, the strongest guy, the biggest guy. He was a little undersized and shorter for a center, but he was a monster. You look at coaches or players, like I said, you can learn from this consistency, man. I mean, starting 164 games, playing Pro Bowl level across multiple seasons, that's not accidental. That's Mangold setting the standard, and he stuck to it. And you don't get guys like Jason Kelce. You don't get Buddy on the Chiefs there. You don't get Cam Jurgens. You don't get any of these, guys. You don't get any of those guys without guys like Nick Mangold setting the standard for what it meant to be a guy who can show up week after week after week, pump after pump after pump of constantly having these down games and constantly pushing through it. And, even in college days, he said things like, they have lots of speed, so you have to be perfect with your steps if you want to block them. And that's a big thing is all that footwork. We talk about it as coaches all the time. It's the little things about your footwork and being that slower guy, being that guy who's not as strong. If you have the proper footwork and you have the proper technique, you're going to win every single time.
100%.
You look at guys talking about, teammates talking about this guy. They said he was everything you could wish for as a teammate. Player, a son, a friend, a husband, a father, an American, loyal, hardworking, selfless, caring, and loving. And that was by Ohio State's Jim Tressel. I mean, you look at guys talking about the impact of the stat sheet. I mean, as a center, you rarely flash in highlights the way a wide receiver does. But the role is so critical. The calls, the adjustments, the chemistry. Like, Mangold excelled at being the heartbeat of that offensive line. And he emphasized that role of not getting the glory, but holding everything together. Obviously, like I said, he passed away fighting his chronic kidney disease. He was diagnosed with that in 2006, and his public plea for as a donor in 2025 showed character beyond the field. You look at guys like Rex Ryan talking about him. He remembered his last game. Mangold's injured. Comes to him, and he says, "I'm playing this game," and he wanted to play, and that's what he remembered about him. He wanted to keep constantly playing football. You look at guys like Jason Kelce, like I've talked about him. You want to talk about this? Is what he said. You want to talk about stalwart, the best offensive line to ever play the game. When you think about offensive line over the past 2 decades, the best of the best, you don't look any further than Nick Mangold. And like I said, you don't get guys like Kelce without Nick Mangold. You don't get those guys without the legendary stature and the legendary push of guys like Nick Mangold. And so again, rest in peace. I want to say just my piece about this guy because as I played center as a kid, and I loved watching this guy play. He was a huge guy I looked up to, and just, hats off, dominant career. Great job, buddy.
Absolute monster, sir. Thank you so much. All right. We're going to move into our next segment, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We touched on a couple points, but let's get it going. Number 1, the good. We talked about this guy a little bit. Jahmyr Gibbs is crushing it. Why is he crushing it? Well, we know We know how good that offensive line in Detroit is, but you still got to have second, third, fourth gear to be doing what Jamar Gibbs is doing. Against the Giants, he racked up 264 yards, all-purpose scrimmage, 3 touchdowns, including a 69-yard game-winning burst, walk-off touchdown, overtime. Unreal. Next up, we got Jackson Smith from the Seahawks. He's still crushing it. They beat the Titans 30-24. JSN is hauling in 8 catches for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's becoming the true go-to weapon for Seattle's offense.
I do believe he also broke the most rushing or most receiving yards in a single season for a Seahawk as well too.
And then he'll come on for a good, he did put a pumping on my Raiders, but I tell you, hats off to Shedeur Sanders for doing what he did this week. And like I said, Stefanski set that kid up to fail the entire season, didn't want him to be part of the team, wouldn't let him be part of the team, but now they need him, so he's part of the team. Now, was he super, super shiny? No. Did he make some really nice passage on bad coverage? Yes, he sure did. So hats off to Shedeur Sanders, 209 yards. He showed poise and delivered a highlight reel 66-yard swing pass to Dylan Sampson for a TD. And he got another really nice pass, which got knocked out of Buddy's hands, which was bad on him, but he did really good. Hats off to you.
Monster.
Okay, bad. Now, Patriots, I love the Patriots, but they're into a little bit of an injury bloodbath. Their offensive line's getting pretty beat up. Jared Wilson went down. Left guard, with an ankle. And then, as we said, the anchor of that offensive line, Campbell, he's out with a knee injury. So let's hope that they come back strong soon, because I tell you, that team has been really fun to watch this year. Losing these guys could really derail their really good season. I think they're 9-0, or I think they have 9 straight wins, which is pretty impressive for the Patriots. It hasn't been done since before Brady left. Wow, that's pretty crazy. And then we're going to move on now to, those Vikings. And, they're having some big struggles with JJ. I don't think JJ's ready. He's struggling. He had a rough outing, just 87 passing yards, 2 interceptions, and got sacked 5 times in their loss to the Packers, 23-6. Now, that's just rough, because that Minnesota defense is holding them to 23 points, and all they can muster up is 6 points on offense. That's really tough. Really tough. And again, let's go back to this one. We're talking about the Colts, but now we're talking about how the Chiefs barely survived the Colts, who last year might have had 5 wins. Colts lose in overtime, walk-off field goal. It wasn't pretty. They tallied Mahomes through a really ugly interception earlier in the game. Makes you wonder how much staying power the Chiefs actually have and where they're going to finish up the season. They're just not the Chiefs of the past. You can see that connection between Kelsey and Mahomes is still nice and bright there. The run game looks pretty good. But again, they're not the Chiefs of the past. And I think, old Coach Andy Reid, he needs to mix it up a little bit. The ugly. The Raiders, total collapse. They were overpowered at home by the Cleveland Browns, who also aren't very good. They're not a very great team. But the Raiders, like I said earlier in the segment, as much as it pains me to say this, we are the worst team in the league. And I don't think that our players are the worst players in the league, but I think that the coaching staff is definitely the worst coaching staff in the league. They got rid of that racist offensive coordinator that we have. Let's be so happy that he's gone.
Kelly's garbage.
They racked up 13 penalties for 109 yards. What an absolute disgrace. I'm so sorry, Raiders fans. Don't worry. The future's bright, I hope. And then, you'll go to the Ravens. The Ravens are also shooting themselves in the foot. They were behind the Jets. Luckily they woke up and after halftime, they got some stuff going and they came back for the win. But, the Ravens were losing to the Jets. We're talking about 2 years ago MVP. What's going on? They got Derrick Henry. They got Lamar Jackson at the helm. Like, these guys should have blown out the Jets by 40 points. Like, the Jets shouldn't even be relatively in the game. You know, they beat a bad team with a bad team last week. Let me tell you that much. And again, I got to hit this one more time. This is not just because I'm a fan of the Raiders. This is because I'm a fan of mentoring. This is because I'm a fan of making sure that all these guys like myself and all these professionals are doing the right things. And Geno Smith, shame on you for doing what you've done 2 weeks in a row. I'm giving it to you for 2 weeks in a row. You're ugly. You're a mentor to young children around the world that are watching you, man. They're watching you. And they are seeing what you are doing, and they are going to replicate what you're doing. They're going to say, hey, I'm going to go give my mom and dad the finger in the stands because I don't like the comments everyone else is saying. Or, hey, I'm just going to call everybody out and blame everybody on social media because everything didn't turn the page my way and people are blaming me, so I'm just going to go out there and blame me. You know, your car breaks down, blame me. Kids get an F on the report card, blame me. So shame on you, Geno Smith. Grow up, and I can't wait till you're no longer the quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders.
100%.
Signing off.
All right, guys, going into our wrap up here. You know, we're at the end of the episode. I thought it was a great episode. I thought we talked about a lot of good stuff. As we wind this down, you know, we got to be real with you here. We've been a little quiet lately. Life happens. You know, coaching gets intense, schedules get wild. Sometimes the podcast slips behind the noise a little bit, but the fact that so many of you still tune in, you're still listening to us, supporting what we're building here. You know, I see the likes on TikTok all the time. I see all that kind of stuff. I appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to get back more consistently here. And listen, downtime's over. We're back. And we're committing to getting this thing right back on. More episodes, more consistent drops, more deep dives in the trenches, and more of the energy that makes this show what it is. Ramping things back up with some new segments, returning favorites. We've got some fresh ideas cooking up on the behind the scenes, and this next stretch of the Hoggie Shuffle is going to be our strongest yet. So, you know, we also want to make the show with you. It's not just for you. So let us know what to do, what you want more of. You want more O-line breakdowns, more coaches' corners, more trivia we could pull back in. Maybe some more interviews, you know, get some more people back on the podcast. I'd love to do that again. I thought that was a great time. Is there a segment we should bring back? Some of you guys want us to debut? Hit us up on socials, DM us, drop a comment, whatever works. Your feedback genuinely shapes the show. So we really appreciate that. Let's keep it rolling. And with that, we're going to close this one out in the only way we know how. So as always, stay square.
Stay nasty.
See you back next week.
See you guys.